hope you enjoy this selection of hand-picked people that I've chosen to interview to share with you their knowledge and their insights about how you can navigate through this times with physical resilience, with emotional calm. Make sure that you're subscribed so you get notifications of when each interview is being released. Take advantage of it while it's up for the 24 hours. And just know, of course, that if you want access to all of the recordings forever, then you can purchase the package as well. So without further ado, let's dive in and enjoy. Okay, thanks for being on the call here with us, Denis.
Yeah. Wow, hi everybody. Hi everybody.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited. You and I, we've been chatting a little bit. You gave me a little bit of a preview and insight into what we're going to be talking about here today. So I'm stoked for that. Cultivating immunity through stress relief. I mean, there it is. Talk about the two biggest topics, the concepts that we all need to get a handle on is building our immunity, but also this element of stress relief. So I know you're going to talk about the kind of play of stress and immunity, but also more importantly, those strategies to kind of create that stress relief and as a result, build our immunity. So wonderful. Stoked to get into it. Where would you like to start? How should we dive into this here?
Well, correct, Malcolm. This whole presentation you're going to listen to today began as a sort of answer to the general stress everyone is feeling right now. As much as we should be boosting our immunity with antiviral herbs, at the same time, we have to be taking care of our psycho-spiritual health. So this presentation today is about quieting the mind, but also taking care of all the different organs of our body. So each organ has a different emotion attached to it. So today we're really going to be taking care of certain organs of the body and also taking care of the emotions that live inside of them. It's a very fascinating subject.
Cool, very cool. I know I love how you've laid this out and excited to dive in. So if there were a place to start, if there were an organ to start with and to focus on, which one would you say we get into first?
Well, Malcolm, I think we have to begin with the whole body. So when we talk about stress, we're talking about something that affects the entire body. When we talk about stress, it doesn't just affect the mind, but it actually has a physical effect, a damaging effect upon all the organs of our bodies, all the glands. Stress affects mostly the endocrine system, the glandular system. So when we talk about stress, it's a question about how does stress affect you? So different people will experience different symptoms. So for me, I know when I'm stressed out, I get muscular tension. Oh, geez. I get all tight and, like it's only when I'm stressed do I experience those symptoms, right? So stress affects people differently, but I know people tell me they lose their ability to focus and concentrate when they're stressed, as well as, of course, you get anxious. Perhaps you might feel somewhat depressed. And what we're realizing is that any kind of stressful circumstance, any kind of stressful stimuli on the body, it actually takes resources from your body. So if there's a stressful stimuli, it's going to take energy from you and from your body and from your glands. And so
yeah, and most people can relate to that, and that whole saying of flight or fight, right? Or rest and digest. You're either in the sympathetic or the parasympathetic mode.
Yeah, precisely. Like stress causes us as human beings to create adrenaline. And that's the thing. We get and produce all these adrenal hormones, but the problem is this adrenal response is vital to life. So it's a survival response. The body will take from the other glands, like it'll take from your brain the neurotransmitters you would normally produce of dopamine, serotonin, happiness neurotransmitters. If you're stressed, your body will produce rather adrenal hormones before it will produce these hormones, if you know what I mean.
Oh, totally, right?
This is the survival. Survival depends upon the adrenal hormones first. So this is the great challenge in these times, is that we have to start nourishing these glands and protecting ourselves from stress. Is there a way to protect ourselves from stress? That's the whole question of this little
Yeah, and honestly, we could be having this conversation at any time of day, any time of the year. Most people, in our modern lifestyle, face kind of a low grade or even moderate grade, stress levels just in their everyday. And I think what's happened since this whole kind of pandemic went down, whether people realize it or not, I've been talking with different folks in the shop, even friends, they're going like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize like how much stress I've been, experiencing because this all went down. And every once in a while we get a glimpse into, okay, I am really tense. And so, we exist at this level and now it's just been taken up a notch. So I'm glad you're going to be sharing some insight in how to move through this.
Yeah, so this is honestly one of the questions I get asked so often. It's like, how, Denny, these were questions asked for me before the pandemic even started. It's like, Denny, how do you stay so joyful in the face of the current situation in the world? And this was like, people have been asking me this for years. And I tell you what, Malcolm, it's something I have in my cup of tea. I've actually got something in here that protects me from stress and keeps me actually joyful. It's very fascinating stuff.
All right. Happiness in a mug. Here we go. And here's the big question. What is in my mug there, Denis?
So today I brewed up for myself one of the greatest of all herbs, Malcolm. Check this out.
Oh, there
This
she
is
is.
my big jar of reishi mushroom slices.
All right.
And this is where we will begin our conversation today, I suppose, about how do we protect ourselves from stress and so boost our immunity. And this is one of the most important definitions for you all to know. What is a herb that is an adaptogen?
Yeah.
So reishi mushroom, what I have in my tea, is perhaps one of the greatest of all the herbs known as adaptogenic. Those herbs that generate adaptation, literally. So what does that mean? Adaptation, to the ability to adapt to the world around you, right? The ability to, be responsive and change to what is the stimuli. So reishi mushroom is one of these greatest of all the adaptation generating herbs. Adaptogenic, an adaptogen, a herb that generates adaptation. And for all of you out there, I really hope you start researching this term. All of the herbs known as adaptogens, they're incredibly powerful for feeling relief from stress.
Yeah.
If I were to define adaptogens, I love this one definition of an adaptogenic herb, and it is a herb that protects the organs of the body from the damaging effects of stress. So not every herb you see out there is an adaptogen. You know, it's only an elite class of herbs. But yes, they are scientifically validated to the stressful stimuli may still be there. That's one of the things. Like, these herbs help you even though the stressful stimuli still exist. But once you start taking the herbs, the harmful effects on your body's organs are negated. So even though like you could be still under tremendous stress, once you start taking these herbs, the organs of your body will not be affected. So this has to, you have your mind and your anxiety and your memory, and actually reishi is one of those greatest herbs there is for insomnia. When you have reishi, you can sleep like a little baby.
For sure. You know, and I would not doubt that there are many people right now in this current situation to be having trouble with sleeping. So that's a great recommendation.
And that's the question, is how else does stress affect your body? And I bet you reishi is the answer. That's the thing. You know, when you can protect yourself from stress, so many good things happen, okay? So I really want to, in this session, actually explore the physical, like the biological effects of reishi mushroom as an example.
Yeah.
But all the adaptogenic herbs any herb that's considered adaptogenic will have similar benefits, okay, everybody? So reishi mushroom in this case is just an example given for you. But if you take stress away, what can happen to you? What could our society do? Can you imagine if stress was not a factor in the limits of what our society could start to do? That's the golden future of people starting to take their immunity herbs here. Well, my question for everyone is, how does stress affect you? So, Malcolm, maybe you can help me here, but I know most people, whenever they get stressed out, they actually get a cold, they get a sore throat. We all know our immunity is affected by stress dramatically, right? It's as soon as you get stressed, that's when you get taken out by a cold or a cough or a sore throat, right? I mean, it's
yeah, and like you say, you know, we don't tend to function as optimally. We aren't kind of as sharp. You know, the mental performance goes down. We're holding tension maybe in our jaw or somewhere else in part of our body. We're not as relaxed. Yeah, and stress is good. You know, like obviously we don't want to eliminate all stressors, and we can't. That's not even possible in life. Like it's good to push us, but it's our response to that stress on, like you say, a biological level. How about, you know, like shifting that, right? So it's not a negative, it just becomes this positive.
Well, I mean, stress can be positive and make us grow, and that's the greatest thing I hold in my heart from this whole situation here.
Yeah.
That we're gonna adapt and we're gonna become better as a society. I believe it. I can totally see it happening all around us at the moment. But it's true that this stress, the stress all around us, is affecting us emotionally, mentally, but physically as well. So when you become so stressed, it actually damages your physical body. This is the truth about it. And then it's not so to say damaging, but it takes from the resources that your body has. So we can actually build, and that's one of the greatest things about these herbs, the adaptogens, is that they actually build the reservoir of resources our body requires to deal with these emotional, physical, mental stressors. So when you drink reishi tea, there's something special that happens. But you're nourishing your body with something. And honestly, when I think about reishi mushrooms and any of the medicinal mushrooms, I like to think of them as nutritive herbs. So when we talk about mushrooms, we're talking about immunonutrition. Have you ever heard of this, Malcolm? Immunonutrition.
Yeah, and I know where you're going with this, and this is different than, like reishi mushroom doesn't offer you vitamin C, or those kinds of things. This is a different quality of nutrition.
Yeah, when we talk about the mushrooms in general and all the mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, I consider them nutritive. So when you have a nutritive herb, it's a herb that delivers to the body resources. Like if you think about stinging nettle leaf tea, it's like this is a nutritive herb and it gives you minerals. The body needs them. And when we talk about mushrooms, reishi mushroom, the mushrooms aren't as a herb like active against, they're not like doing something very they're not like taking action against something. But if you know what I mean, there's other herbs that produce effects on the body that are pronounced, right? Like you can take like super laxative herbs,
right?
They'll make you just like right away, like, or you can take a stimulant herb like caffeine and
yeah, or certain herbs,
pronounce
they're vasodilators. They cause your, a certain effect and action on the body.
But when you take the mushrooms, it's much more subtle. But it's because they're actually nutritive. So this is where we want to start talking about a new definition that you all should start researching. It's called immunonutrition. And in the mushrooms, there's another term you must research. It's called glyconutrients. So when you actually take the mushrooms and drink them, the medicinal compounds are actually called glyconutrients. So they're actually sugars, but they're so complex. Glyconutrients, they're called polysaccharides. And in the mushrooms, they're called beta-glucans. So these beta-glucans, they're a form of sugar. It's not just one molecule, right? Or one
So if we think of
structure.
sugars, right? We have, monosaccharides, disaccharides, and then the polysaccharides.
Yeah.
So it's it's many, these long chain complex sugars. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, so instead of just being one molecule, they're interwoven, like very strange, beautiful molecule called the beta-glucans.
Yeah, these are not simple sugars, of which a simple sugar like honey or table sugar, you can actually taste it, right? Like easy to break down, rapidly absorbed, into the bloodstream. Like you can taste the sugar, you get that spike. And with these things, right, there's a complexity there that is not easily broken down or perceived even as sugar in that sense.
Yeah, so when you're drinking this tea, you're drinking a form of sugar that is soon to be known as an essential nutrient for humans, Malcolm. This is the latest research. If we talk about essential fatty acids, you know, omega-3,
Yeah, yeah.
something the human body needs outside of itself to be healthy, omega-3 fatty acids, also known as the essential fatty acids. What else is known as essential? It's essential amino acids. We need essential amino acids outside of our body to be healthy. And so the latest research, the scientists want to call it essential sugars. So the sugars, these glyconutrients, the immunonutrition found in the mushrooms, these polysaccharides, beta-glucans, will soon be classified as essential sugars. So we need essential fats, we need essential proteins, and we need these essential amino acids. So the beta-glucans, these sugars in the reishi, are food for the immune system, immunonutrition. So when you drink reishi mushroom, you're actually drinking these compounds, and in your body, when you absorb them, they will actually, your body will bring it like deep. Your body actually brings it into your bone marrow. Your body will take these beta glucans and put it into the bone marrow. And in the bone marrow, that's where immune cells are born. And apparently your body uses these beta glucans to build white blood cells, macrophages, NK killer cells. Like your body uses the mushroom as, you know, building material for other, you know, an essential part of our bodies. So
Yeah, totally. And this
very
is that
fascinating.
difference that you're talking about, you know, a herb, forcing or causing a certain action on the body versus supplying the body with the nutrients it needs to form its own immunity.
Yes, precisely, Malcolm. Like, for example, bee propolis, you can take it, but it's so antibacterial, it's so antibacterial, you could classify it as a antibiotic. And
Mm-hmm.
in the end, bee propolis can harm your gut bacteria if you take too much of it at once. Like it is antibiotic, but
Yeah, same with oregano oil, and enough volume and concentration. Yeah, it's too much, for the body. It plays a role, can be very effective.
yeah, but the mushrooms are totally on a different spectrum because the immune benefits they convey are that it's just giving your body the building material it needs to do whatever it wants to do with that, right? Like this is the great thing about the mushrooms is that they're considered immunomodulators. So they don't actually make your immune system go hyperactive. No, in fact, when you take the mushrooms, they can actually bring down a hyperactive immune system. So, for example, reishi mushroom here, you know, it's known for asthma, arthritic conditions, and seasonal allergies. Reishi mushroom can help these things where your immune system is overactive, but it's because when you drink reishi, you're actually feeding and nourishing your immune system. And this is what I really want everyone to look up. It's immunonutrition. Immunonutrition. It's going to be the science of the future, everyone. And
Mhm.
it can be as easy as making a cup of tea for yourself. Like, That's how I stay so chipper all the time, eh? Well, okay, how are you doing there, Malcolm? Are we how's our time looking like?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're about 20 minutes in, and yeah, let's keep moving. So we've got, we talked about the adaptogens. We've started with the first one, reishi, and this immunonutrition and the glyconutrients and how that works. How else might reishi help with stress relief? So that's a connection with immunity. How about stress relief? You mentioned a bit about insomnia and how it's so one of those great herbs for that.
Okay, Malcolm. So this is a very interesting question because there's a cascade of benefits when you start taking reishi mushroom. There is a cascade of benefits, and it all has to do with when you start feeding your immune system. All sorts of good things happen because are you familiar with the idea that the immune system is actually in charge of repairing the body? So if you ever have a cut, a wound, a broken bone, it's actually in the immune system that has to go there and start healing the body. The immune system is responsible for repairing the human body. So even if you have and this is the inflammatory response. So that's one of the cool things about reishi mushrooms. It's one of the most anti-inflammatory herbs on the planet. So it might be even better than turmeric. When you take reishi, you will see a kind of pain relief, anti-inflammatory pain relieving effect. But this has to do with because you're amping up your immune system. You're like just giving your immune system what it needs. But if you're cut, if you're broke a bone, it's the immune system that actually goes there and starts repairing it. And this is the same with internal effects. So let's say you have an ulcer, a stomach ulcer. An ulcer is considered like a wound on the inside of your digestive system. It's totally like a wound, like just the same as you would have on the outside of your body, but it's just an inside wound.
Mm-hmm.
And reishi mushroom is known to be incredibly effective at healing stomach ulcers. And in fact, all of the medicinal mushrooms, any of the mushrooms have that effect. And if we're talking about reishi, just like as I was talking about in the beginning, this is just an example given, but all of the medicinal mushrooms are considered adaptogens. So
Yeah, they're all immunomodulating as well, right? So just what you described, overactive, underactive, all the mushrooms will help bring your body into balance in that way.
yeah, precisely. So most of the mushrooms are known to be immunonutritive, immunonutrition. So
Yeah.
anything you want to try, lion's mane mushroom, chaga mushroom, turkey tail mushroom, reishi mushroom, any of those are going to have similar effects to what I'm talking about. So there's a fascinating cascade of benefits though, Malcolm, once you start taking these immunonutritive herbs.
Yeah.
And especially for calming the mind, making your mind quiet. This is one of the reasons reishi was famous. I think it's one of our great herb teachers and mentors, hey Malcolm, Dr. Terry Willard, speaks of reishi mushroom as the herb for the academic.
Yeah, it says, helps protect the academic from their own mind. That old like circular thinking, overthinking.
Reishi mushroom can protect the academic from their own mind. So reishi mushroom was used in ancient times and treasured for its ability to quiet the mind and make and produce a state like Zen. This is one of the reasons I want to talk about this today is that I've met and talked to a lot of people whose minds are just racing and racing, and it's not very productive. The best thing we can all do right now is just quiet the mind, bring it back to a state of stillness, and from there you will see a great clarity. From there you will see a great um, a relief from stress. Because what is anxiety except that anxiety is when you're thinking about something. You're thinking about something, but it's outside of the moment of now. Like, I don't know what makes you stressful right now, but for me, well, there's a lot of things that you could be worried about right now, but
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of us are, getting caught up in, what's going on. Like, what caused this? Why is this happening? Where's this going to go? Will I have a job after this is all over? What's going to happen to my savings? I mean, there's, any number of things people could be really worried about and stressed around. So reishi is as applicable now as it ever was in that regard.
so reishi was used by the great monks in the East, in China and all the Asian countries. They were in search of something called Zen, the quieting of the mind. And this is actually where we get our tradition of the knowledge of how reishi was used. So let me read you something, a passage from a great book, one of the great works of modern literature. And it is the ancient wisdom of the Chinese herbs of Ron Tea Garden. So this is a great, great book to understand how these herbs were treasured in the ancient days, because we as a people are only just starting to understand these herbs, but they actually have something like 10,000 years of use, right? And that's just going to prehistory. We can't even see back before then, but in China, this reishi mushroom was valued by the monks because it quieted the mind. So I have a special passage to read for you
All
here.
right, let's do it.
So reishi is a superb anti-stress herb. It has routinely been used by mountain hermits, monks, Taoist adepts, and spiritual seekers throughout Asia because it was believed to help calm the mind, ease tension, strengthen the nerves, improve memory, sharpen concentration and focus, build willpower, and as a result, help build wisdom. This is why it was called the mushroom of spiritual potency by these seekers. Yes, it was treasured. Reishi mushroom was treasured by these monks because as they sat in meditation, if they had some of this tea, they would notice, like, wow, I'm not thinking so much. I'm not overthinking things. So, do you guys remember when we started talking about how healing the body is is a responsibility of the immune system. So this is one of the great benefits of the mushroom. There are many benefits. It's a cascade. Like when you start taking reishi, a whole lot of good things start happening. But when you start feeding your immune system, right, your immune system gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It can actually start repairing. Remember how we said it's part of the inflammatory response? If you got injured in any way, your immune system is part of the process to start repairing the body. Well, this is where reishi comes into play, that it begins to, if you're not injured, it actually starts repairing your internal organs. So if you think about the liver, and reishi is one of the greatest herbs for the liver, apparently this is where all of these benefits cascade from. So you're drinking the reishi tea, you're feeding your immune system can start healing the body, bringing inflammation down. It can start getting in there and working on repairing tissues. Then you get this thing that happens where it starts to work on your liver. And reishi is one of the greatest of all liver herbs there is. So reishi is not only considered a liver detoxifier, but it is considered a liver regenerator. So not only can reishi like clean your liver is your great filter of your body, but it actually starts to repair it too. It's your immune system repairing the liver. And this is where we see in reishi the great benefits to the mind. It has to do with the liver. I want to ask you all if you know what is the emotion you carry in your liver. Do you know what they say? The liver there's two emotions you could have, and one beneficial, and if your liver is healthy, one if your liver is in tough shape. So the liver in tough shape, I know it's something that's happening a lot to our society because dandelion is growing so much around in North America. That great liver healer is growing here because you might need it. You might need it, but the liver in health, when your liver is healthy, it manifests as willpower. Will to do. So when your liver is healthy, you will have the energy to complete your to-do list. And actually, the Chinese herbalists say it's manifested as leaping out of bed in the morning, excited to do your to-do list. So if this is this is kind of very how do they say, I know a lot of people that have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, but a healthy liver is manifested as leaping out of bed, excited to do. That's a healthy liver. It's called willpower.
You want a giver with a healthy liver.
Yeah, Malcolm knows about that.
Oh yeah.
The healthy liver.
Yeah. And
So the
then obviously
opposite.
that's that positive, expression of emotion. And on the kind of maybe more negative side is anger, correct?
Well, yes. So the opposite, when the energy in your liver is
Challenged or stagnant or
yes,
inflamed.
it's not brimming with energy. It's in fact the opposite. It's taking energy from your life. If your liver's in trouble, it's like a stressor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stressor on the body. So this manifests as you say, anger or frustration. Frustration is perhaps a more, what I've read is a more apt description.
Yeah.
It's just you're frustrated or you're angry because you're not doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's your willpower, your will to do, the energy to do things is
Yeah.
compromised. So you get
Either you
angry.
don't know, or you're physically not able to, or something's in the way, right?
Exactly. So that's what happens in the liver when yes, you get frustrated that you're not doing what you want to do or who you want to do, Malcolm. I don't know. We should start talking about the aphrodisiac benefits of taking good care of your liver, but
Right. Another
apparently
conversation, another time, for
it's
sure.
another conversation. It's another conversation. But generally, when you relieve stress, there's going to be good benefits for the whole body. So if
Yeah.
you are picking up and reading between the lines, there are benefits for the whole body, everybody.
Yeah, no, I like this idea of, that, like you say, describe it, the cascade of benefits that happens and how it begins to, affect, the whole body, organs, systems. And this is kind of the key of adaptogens. They're not specific to one action. They're not specific to one organ. They're not specific to one system. They work, holistically, systemically throughout, in a
But
cascade of benefits.
I do want to ask you, everyone, like, do you know what the liver does for you? And well, the liver, so this is one of the great benefits of reishi. When you start to detoxify the liver or regenerate the liver, what starts to happen to you? So the liver cleans the blood, right? The liver is a great filter. So if you start to take care of your liver and detoxify it, there's something that starts to happen to your blood. Your blood starts to become clean. That's the thing. If your liver is congested, if your liver has too many toxins, it can't filter them all. And your blood actually starts to manifest with, these toxins as well. So when you start detoxifying your liver with reishi, when you start to take care of your immune system and your immune system starts repairing your body, it's a long story, but what happens is your blood becomes clean. Your blood becomes like actually pure. And when your blood is pure, you can actually begin to transport more oxygen to the brain. So this is one of the great recorded benefits of reishi mushroom. Brain oxygenation. So reishi mushroom is known to produce this effect where your brain starts to get more oxygen, but it also to do with the cleanliness of the bloodstream. So when your liver is taken care of, your blood is clean, it can actually transport more oxygen to your brain than normal, right? If your blood is full of, I don't know what's in your blood, like perhaps French fry grease. I don't know what is like, what is in your bloodstream that, that's a good question, but
Yeah, various toxins. I mean, there's all kinds of things we encounter in this modern day and age.
so the more room there is in your bloodstream for oxygen, the more oxygen it can transport to your brain, and this manifests as memory. You can remember way more when your blood is oxygenated, as well as reishi mushroom is the single greatest herb there is for insomnia. Insomnia, apparently, and anxiety. So apparently, when your brain is starved for oxygen, it will start to think circularly. If you're having insomnia and you're thinking like so much, it's because your body's telling you something. It's like, I'm not supposed to be laying down right now. It's like, take me outside and give me a walk or something. And I've actually had good results with people with insomnia, just telling them to open their window at night to breathe fresh air. But apparently reishi mushroom is the greatest number one insomnia herb. It just has to do with this liver healing, blood cleansing, brain oxygenating effect, that when your brain is starved for oxygen, that's when you get anxiety, circular thoughts that keep coming back.
Yeah, and then when you're not sleeping, like this is such key essential time for rest and repair. The importance of sleep for immunity and everything else going on. So
Absolutely right, Malcolm. Absolutely right. Yes, reishi mushroom is known to boost memory and also with this brain oxygenation effect. But this also has to do with reishi mushrooms' anti-anxiety effect. So when you're anxious, what is happening? You're thinking about something outside of the moment of now, right? You're not paying attention to what's in front of you. So it's like, you're not going to remember everything you see. If you're not thinking about something outside of the moment now, reishi mushroom helps you with that. All of a sudden, you're going to have tremendous memory return to you because you're actually paying attention to what's going on. This is the great benefit of drinking reishi mushroom. So you actually start paying attention to what is in front of you, and you will never forget. So reishi, that's one of the reasons reishi is one of the great herbs for those who are studying and trying to remember things. But also, what is this? But is it not stress itself? Is there any other source of stress? Well, yes. So there's stress that occurs when we think about things that are not part of what we see. You know what I mean? When we're stressed, we're not paying attention to the moment, but that is what anxiety is. Anxiety is thinking about something that, is it real, guys? Is it part of?
Yeah, a lot of people right now have anxiety around the future and what's going to happen,
Yeah, so if you can create a shield for yourself around your mental processes, the stress about thinking so much, that actually takes from your body's resources as well. It takes from your immunity. takes from those resources equally. So mind, mental stress, physical stress, emotional stress. Each of these can take from our body's resources for immunity equally. But that's where reishi is a great shield. When you start drinking this tea, you don't think so much. You don't give so much energy that way. You can actually start paying attention. But also it protects you physically by nourishing your bone marrow to make white blood cells that manage the immune response, right? Manage the inflammatory response. And so physical stress is taken care of. So mental, physical, and then we start talking about the spiritual. Hey, Malcolm.
Yeah, in Chinese philosophy, it's described as a great Shen tonic too, isn't it?
Yes. I wonder, Malcolm, how much time we still have left to share with this, the third most important part of stress. Mental, we took care of it. Physical, it's taken care of. But spiritual, how much time do we have to talk about that, Malcolm?
Yeah, like 10 minutes, and in that sense would still keep us under an hour, which is what we're aiming for with these conversations. So
Okay. So in our modern medicine, we have a hard time to describe actually more than the physical, right? And we've divided the mental and physical into two totally different things, which is preposterous. Like we need a unity of those three: physical, mental. What is this thing called the spirit? What is the spiritual body? Because we can experience stress. Well, according to the Chinese herbalists, we can experience spiritual stress. So, what is the spirit? It's a sort of energy. So, in Chinese herbalism, it's actually it's qualified, and perhaps the best translation is emotional. Emotional stress is different than mental stress, different than physical stress. The best translation is emotional stress, for the spirit part of the equation, right? Mind, body, spirit. The emotions in Chinese herbalism live in your heart. And this is kind of where we can start talking about the organs of the body and where the different emotions reside in them. But
yeah, we talked about the liver, and yeah, I know you were going to get into heart and lungs on that concept as well.
yeah, so it's very fascinating stuff. Are you all with me that stress can affect us physically? It can affect us mentally. And it can affect us emotionally. So when I talk about spirit, I'm talking emotional stress. Okay, everyone? This is stress that comes from somewhere inside of us. And this place in Chinese herbalism, the place where the emotions lives is the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the coolest things about reishi mushroom, is that it's one of the greatest of all heart herbs. In Chinese medicine, they believed each organ was the seat of a different emotion. So in the heart lives love. In the lungs lives, well, each organ has a duality, right? Yin and yang. So in the lungs can live gladness, where you're laughing, ha 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 ha. Or in the lungs lives sadness. It's one of those things. Mm-hmm. You know, who knows, am I laughing or am I crying? It's like the same. It's the same. If you're laughing or you're crying, it's in your lungs. That's what lives there, right? And it's the seat of that emotion. So in your liver lives willpower or frustration.
Yeah.
Not doing what you want to do.
And then what about the heart? You were getting to that.
Yes. Well, in the heart lives love, or the opposite. Love can live in the heart, or also I don't know too much about the opposite because I drink so much reishi. Do you know what I mean? But yes, in the heart resides this third energy. If we're talking about your body lives in the physical, your mind lives in, well, something up here, like there's some sort of energy going on up there. And then so this is Jing, Qi, and Shen. This is a long conversation, Malcolm. We could probably do a 5-day course on Chinese herbalism.
For sure.
But in your heart lives this energy called the spirit. And that's the beautiful thing about reishi. So out of your heart shines this energy. When you drink reishi, one of the benefits is that it's actually a muscle relaxant, eh? So we talked about its anti-inflammatory effects, but it actually helps to relax the big muscle that is your heart. Your heart is a big muscle, hey? It's like bum 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 bum, but it's a big muscle and it can get tense just as any muscle of your body. So if your heart has been doing a lot of workouts recently, maybe you should have some reishi, because it is muscle relaxant. So it's any part of your body. Oh, you got stress, you're tense, reishi works. Reishi will relax you. You got emotional things happening, your heart is tense. Geez, is that when people get heart attacks? Of course, when their heart, they get really tense. Most heart attacks happen when people are angry or yelling and getting mad, but their heart gets tense like this. No, you gotta nurture a relaxed heart. Bum 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 bum. Take care of that, and I swear, buddy, I swear, everyone, that reishi is probably the ultimate herb for that kind of stuff. But I invite you all to research more that reishi is not the only herb that can produce this effect. I invite you all to check out the adaptogens, the herbs that generate adaptation. equally, each of these herbs is able to produce these effects that we're talking about today. Reishi was just the example given, okay, everybody? How are you doing there, Malcolm? Are we almost out of time here?
Yeah, just about to wrap it up.
Well, do you think I should end it with a quote?
Yeah, for sure. We'll do a couple things if you want to kind of share a quote, and then I've got some other things to wrap up as well.
Okay, everyone. So I have a quote from you, or a quote for you from the oldest herbal book on the earth. This is the Divine Farmer's Materia Medica. This is the oldest written book of herbalism on the planet. It's called the Shen Nong Herbal, the Divine Farmer's Materia Medica. And he classified all of his herbs from superior to inferior. And can you guess what the most superior herb is? Well, of course, it's reishi mushroom. And as I read this to you, I want you to see the correlation with everything we've talked about today, about how stress affects you, about how strengthening your body with herbs might be the best way to navigate the coming times, okay? Okay, check it out. Reishi is bitter and balanced. It mainly treats binding in the chest. So 2,000, 3,000 years ago, they were using this for heart problems. Binding in the chest translates as when your heart is tight, but it boosts the heart chi, supplements the center, so that actually has to do with your adrenal energy. This is very interesting text to try to read. But it sharpens the wits and causes people not to forget. So, i.e., improves the memory. If you take it for a long time, it will make the body feel light. So, for me, in the translation, this means the weight of the world will no longer be on your shoulders when you drink reishi. It makes the body light. It prevents senility, and it will prolong life so as to make one an immortal. You do not hear that about every herb you read about, hey?
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, thank you for taking your time to go so deep into reishi with us. And again, as I know you mentioned, as an example of an adaptogen and how they can support the body, we went through them being immunonutrients, the glycoproteins, the polysaccharides, and then we talked about the liver, and we got into the heart, and of course, then the mind and emotions and all that. So, yeah, cool. What is?
Thank you.
Yeah, what I'd like to do two things to kind of wrap it up. One is first we'll kind of get a sense of how people can connect with you, social media, websites, all that kind of stuff, and then we got a kind of final question to finish it off.
All right, Malcolm. Well, you can if you follow along on the Light Cellar Superfoods, I'm kind of a character there. So, Light Cellar Superfoods on Instagram and Facebook, you will probably see me there. Mm-hmm. If you scroll through it all, you'll see some teachings, very important teachings in the feed there. If you keep going, and you'll probably find them. But if you want information about this, like about the mushrooms and all this, I invite you to follow me on Instagram on Denis Manzer, DenisManzer. I'll put that on my Instagram for now, but keep on following Lightseller and you'll probably find some greater contributions, everybody?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so to wrap it up, here we are. We're kind of in the middle of this pandemic and everything going on. What is your hope for society and the world that can come out of this? What would be a silver lining that you can see that we can all emerge with?
Well, Malcolm, as you know, the world as was normal before the pandemic, it was not normal. I hope everyone can come back to slowing down a little bit and appreciating the moment and not thinking so much, just be and in the moment. That's appreciate what you have. I know that in the coming months we'll see falling apart what wasn't very important, you know what I mean? So, I would lift my big middle finger to society before the pandemic. So I had left 2 of them. So let's see what happens, everybody. As a society, we are gonna figure it out. I have got a lot of faith.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for spending your time with us today, and appreciate all your sharing and your example of slowing down and just being heart-centered, being calm, and all right. Well, wish you all the best, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay, drink your reishi, everybody. Drink your reishi.
We will. All right.
Really hope you enjoyed that interview. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are receiving notifications of all the videos coming out. And if you want access to the entire video series, something that you can replay, you can share with friends and family, then definitely make sure you take advantage of the offer to get access to all of that. And thank you again for being part of this community and this series called Community and